Hello, class. Hello.
Hello.
Are you able to? Hello. Are you able to see my screen? Yes. Okay. Well, we can start our lesson. I'd like us to do something on business communication. Hope you have an idea about this unit. So part, our next part is we are supposed to look at the objectives for today, and at the end of this lesson, we are supposed to be able to define what is communication. Also, at the end of the session, we are supposed to explain the importance of business communication. Also, we have to describe the lines of communication in our business. Also, we have to illustrate the communication process. Also, we have to outline the different forms and means of communication. Then lastly, last objective is that we are supposed to identify the barriers to effective communication. Then another thing, next, we have to define what is communication. I know you all know the definition of communication, but let me define for you. We can define communication in this way. Communication is the transfer or conveyance of information from one person to another. Or we can say in another term that the definition communication is the passing of message from one person to another. Then we can also define communication in this way. We can say business communication is the transfer of information relating to business activity. Oh, that is the definition for communication. Then we move on. We look at the importance of communication at large. So we can say these are the importance for communication. Communication is used by business organization to give and obtain information. Also, communication is very important whereby it helps to clarify issues and points. Also, we can say that communication is very important whereby it helps us to enhance public relation, or it helps us to build business reputation. Also, communication is very important whereby it helps us to improve customer services in shops and supermarkets. Also, we can say that importance of communication is that it helps us to coordinate from departments. Then another thing we're supposed to look at is the lines of communication. Under lines of communication, we have virtual communication, we have horizontal communication, we have diagonal communication. Under virtual communication, we have downward communication and upward communication. That is the lines of communication we are supposed to know by the day. Then another thing we have to look at is the barriers to effective communication. Barriers, we are going to mean that these are the what can hinder, or the obstacles that can be there so that the communication can be not effectively. So these are our barriers that we have to know. One barrier, one of it being the language barrier. Is it okay? Sorry. The barriers of video communication is that one of it being language barrier. We have poor listening, we have negative attitude, we have poor timing, we have wrong media. For us, so let me try to go through the barriers. Under language barrier, you can find out that under communication, you may find out that when there is communication between two people or more, and maybe they are not getting each other, or they are not understanding each other very well, maybe they are coming from different places, you can find out that they are not communicating effectively. So that is under language barrier. Then under poor listening, you may find out that when there is communication somewhere, then maybe people are not attending actively, or they are not listening at the message well. You may find out that communication will not be passed out effectively. Then also under negative attitude, when we try to explain that point, under negative attitude, you may find out that when there is an audience somewhere, then people are having different attitudes. Maybe they have negative. For you to communicate well, you have to after the add positive attitude for you to get that message well. But when you have negative attitude, you may find out that the message you are being passed up, you are being passed to people, they are not getting it well. Then also under this statement of poor timing, you may find out that maybe you are trying to communicate, but your message isn't reaching the destination at the right time. So you have to look at the time that is there for you to pass a message. Then also under this point of wrong medium, you have to choose the proper or the right medium that you are able to use when you want to pass your message. That is under of barriers of radio communication. Then another thing that we're supposed to look is the forms and means of communication. Under this one, we have to look at the verbal communication. Under verbal communication, we have face-to-face communication, we have telephone. Under face-to-face communication, this is whereby you may find out that you are communicating between two people, then they are seeing each other just physically. That is the explanation for that point for face-to-face communication. Then you have also another form that is written communication. Under written communication, this whereby the message being passed across, it is in written format, or we can say you can post out letters and memos for us to pass the message. Also under form, we have another item that is audio-visual communication. Under audio-visual communication, we have pictures, alarms. This whereby people can start to watch to get some information from somewhere else. Then also that is under forms and means of communication. We have only three. That is verbal, written, and the audiovisual communication. Then another thing we're supposed to look is at choosing how to choose means of communication that we're supposed to use. When you want to choose your means of communication, you have to look. There are several factors we are supposed to look at. One being, you have to consider the cost effectiveness. How much will you spend, or how much will you put in for you to maybe to pass some message somewhere? So that is under cost, the expensivity of the means you are using. Also, another thing we're supposed to consider is the speed or the urgency of the message. We should also bear in mind that you have to look at the speed or the rate the message will move so that it can reach us at the destination you want to. So another thing is under when you want to use means of communication, you have to look at the confidentiality of the message. You have to bear in mind that for you to pass certain message, you have to look at the secretness or of the message. You know, there are some messages that are very confidential, so you have to put that in one in mind. You are not supposed to just to share the message to anyone, to everybody that is out there. You have to look at the confidentiality. Then also you have to look at the distance to be covered for you to choose a certain means of communication. You have to consider how long it will take for that message to be somewhere that you want it to reach. Then also another factor you have to choose is you look at the capacity of the means. Then also you have to look at the degree of complexity of the message. That is under the how you should support. You are supposed to choose the means of communication for you to pass certain means of message. Then another thing, I'm hoping that we are together. So for today, if I may ask, I'm very clear. If I may ask, for today's objectives, I'm hoping at this end of the session, you are all knowing how to define communication. You also know the importance of communication. Then also you are able to define or to look at the lines of communication. You have different lines of communication. Then also you are also able to give out the process of effective communication, how communication is being moved, or the process that is supposed to be there. Also, at the end of this session, I'm hoping that you all know the forms and the means of communication. How are you supposed to choose this means of communication? Then another thing, I'm very sure at this session, everybody is able to give out the barriers to effective communication that we have learned for today. Thank you very much for your participation. Hoping that you have something now after this session. Thank you. Have a nice time. Remaining nice.
Thank you. Hapo kwa hiyo.